I hope all is well. Yes, I'm the name of Lutamox Abdul Fisheries Officer, Lugardis Local Government. We hope everyone is online because basically this was scheduled for those students of BFA, those who have just completed their degree and they wanted to have some exposure in the fish farming. So I'm seeing there are only 3 online. I guess it's high time I started. Those others will find us and then they will have to watch the video later. So basically I'll give a brief about fish farming according to the local setting, not what you're going to be having in the books, but then what is really on the ground. So as you know, fish farming, it's just about holding fish in captivity for basically for sale and food, grown to a specific size and for a specific market. So basically I'm doing this video for you, the students, but also for the other people. Reason that many people who are abroad often watch these YouTube videos of people telling them you invest this amount of money and you'll get this amount of money in this short period of time. All of us should know that fish farming is a patient business whereby you can have the net in return after around 2 to 3 cycles. What does this mean? You may invest your money, but in order to break even, you may take around 2 to 3 cycles, production cycles of either 7 months for tilapia or 9 months for catfish. So, so basically, yeah, I'm seeing some comments, red fish. So basically right now, what you're going to do when you're going to go to a farmer, think about these 5 concepts whereby you can you're going to ask questions about. So you have the seed, you have the water quality, the feed, the market, and the management. So what does that mean? When you're going to discuss a business with this farmer, discuss at length. Don't give them a figure like, oh, get 10 million, and then we start over. Basically, when you go to that farmer, discuss from what type of fish does the farmer want and give advantages and disadvantages. Right now in Uganda, the prominent fish we have Nile tilapia and African catfish. Those are ones that we are doing as a business. So basically, when you look at the choice of species, let me say Nile tilapia. Through my experience, most cases, I would not encourage a first-time farmer to go into Nile tilapia because Nile tilapia is some bit of difficult. Remember, right now we don't have any alternative feed or conventional feed for Nile tilapia, and again, it's so sensitive to water quality and also management. So for a first-time farmer, if possible, I would encourage them to do African catfish. And for even if someone is not a first-time farmer, but the water quality is poor, and then there's poor management of the farm, and then there's no the feed is not given in the right amounts, the right nutrients, and also the intervals. Like someone is just trying to give the feed, but it's not really available. I really just try to encourage African catfish. And so in most cases, If this is not a serious farmer, I also try African catfish. Reason that at least even if someone is not that serious, we can have some bit of results when it comes to African catfish. And then even if it's African catfish, most cases I advise the farmer to have more than 1 pond. Fine, this is a hardy species which you can play around with various feeds, with various water quality, but then I advise them to have more than 1 pond. Reason that in future, like after 1 month, you may be required to grade the fish. So even if I've recommended African catfish, they may get challenges in the future of cannibalism among the fish. So basically, let's first talk about the seed. Yeah, I always encourage people to get seed from certified and registered fish hatcheries. I won't give the names now because I'm not doing marketing. But look at the seed that you're going to buy. Some of you just borrow seed from a different farm, or some of you just go to the wild and collect seed from there, which is wrong. Reason that if you collect seed from the wild or from someone's farm, you may not get seed of the right age, the same age, the same cohort, and also the same weight. And then you may carry some diseases and some pathogens, the parasites and the like, to your farm. Unlike when you are working with, you get the fish from a certified hatchery, is that you can even monitor how they are packaging and see the seed. And again, you get the right amounts, the right numbers. So basically, when it comes to Nile tilapia, I would encourage someone to stock 0.8 grams to at least 1.5 grams. But some people are given tilapia fry that are 0.3, because basically our fish farmers don't have the water quality, the feed, I may not give the nutritious feed that you tilapia people are giving. So basically, if someone is given at least 1 gram to 2 grams, that is really good to keep them moving. That is not tilapia. Even if when it comes to African catfish, at least 3 grams to 5 grams, that is a good. You can give some 3 to 5 grams. Pick that instead of picking something that is really low. And let us mind about the grading, the size. Yeah, the size, the grades, so that you don't have shooters. Even if you are farming tilapia, it's not good to start with shooters. Some have a greater weight than the other. That means when it comes to harvest, you'll be having different, let me say, clusters. And when it comes to marketing those clusters, you'll get issues. So for seed, you have to get the seed, buy from certified hatchery. Approximately right now, 1 gram may cost around 150, 200 shillings, Uganda shillings. That is not tilapia. Then for catfish, around 5 grams can cost around 300 shillings. So you can also bargain. And then the same thing on seed. When it comes to stocking density, most of you have this book knowledge of stocking density. You just calculate, you have a rate of 4 to 8. 4 to 8 fish per meter squared. Basically, this is just a standard to guide you. It's just a standard, not to go overboard or to be so below. But basically, when it comes to choosing the stocking density for that fish, you'll consider the length, the sides, the length, the width, and also the depth. But again, stocking density is not affected by only the size of the ponds. You have water quality affects it. We have the feed quality, and then we have the management of the farm. So this is what I do in practice. We have 4 to 8 for Nile tilapia. But basically, when I come to your farm, when you insist on doing Nile tilapia and the water is so poor, I will recommended stocking density of even three fish per meter square. But if I see that your water is good, you have a history of giving, you're feeding with commercial feed, you have the availability of feed is there, you have some technical knowledge about fish farming, I can even go to 10 to recommend for you to stock. Reason that all the requirements of water quality, the feed will be there. So in order to expand the carrying capacity, it's all about playing around with the feed, playing around with the water quality, the rate of filtration. Yeah, because if I find someone having a stream whereby the water, the depth is around even 1 foot, and the width of the stream is like 2 foot, that's a lot of water coming through, going through your what? Your ponds. I can even stock, I recommend high stocking density. You know that this capacity is being influenced by these other factors. So this thing of cramming 4 to 8, every farmer 4 to 8, it's case by case, farmer by farmer. That's why a site visit is recommended. So basically, when it comes to catfish, we always say, okay, 8 to 10 catfish. But even if that is what you know as your standard, if I find the water quality is so poor, I will even tell you stock 6. So when it comes to stocking density, when you're bringing the seed calculating, make sure you put that in consideration. And when you are buying seed, make sure they give you the 5% to cater for mortality. Still talking about the seed, how are you transporting the seed? When it comes to this African catfish, you're going to just put in the jerry can. You can use a board and just carry. But when it comes to the Nile tilapia, it's a sensitive species. Mind about, you should not, even if you're going to put on the border, don't, because they're going to be put in polythene bags, yeah, having oxygen inside. Don't put them at their length. Reason that when you're riding or driving, there will be a big impact of that water going to and from. It will stress the fish. But if you put them at their width, yeah, if this is the border, you put them like this. Even if they are shaking, yeah, it's not as that strong as when you put them at the length, giving a long distance to shake. And then when you're traveling, it's better if there is an option of a smooth road, use that. Reason that you want to limit the mortalities that are caused due to transportation. That's it. So I'll finish seed. Let's go to water quality. When it comes to water quality, you know, Nile tilapia wants high water quality. Now, in most cases, we don't have the gadgets to measure water quality. Yeah, but at least for Nile tilapia, you can really look at the fishes. Sorry, the water is a bit clear, not muddy, not, yeah. And also, before even stocking, let the pond be prepared very well. I'll talk about the management here at management, how the pond management, the construction and everything. So basically, when it comes to the water quality, that's why when it comes to the choosing the species, we have some farmers who would recommend to do African catfish, others would recommend to do Nile tilapia. So look at the water. What is the source of water? You as a fisheries graduate, you have gone to a farm. Don't give advice, fully advice via the phone. Go to the site, have a site visit. We have underground springs. Most farmers have underground springs. Remember, these underground springs in most cases, they're seasonal. We have also the streams, they're seasonal. We have people who have permanent streams who can farm all through the year. That means even if you are advising this farmer, if they have a seasonal source of water, what does this mean? You can encourage them to stock their ponds during the rainy season so that they can have a good water quality throughout the first 3 months or 2 months of the fish growth. That means when the water quality goes bad, when the rains are done, at least the fish is around 200 grams, can withstand. But remember, this young fish of ours has a high metabolic rate. That means it needs all the requirements more than the ones that are big. The ones that are big, they can withstand. The ones that are small at a younger age, they may become stunted, and then you may not them when they are stunted. Even if you feed, even if water quality comes back, you may not get the results. So basically, water quality, you have those who do rain harvesting. That means you have to time. Okay, rains are when. This is when I should stock my fish. Then we have those who do urban farming. They're using their iron sheets have rain harvesting. Still, mark when you are going to stock. Say that don't stock in the dry season, whereby fish is going to get started because there are no rains. So quick, let me go to the feeding. The feeding should be done according to the requirement of that fish at that developmental stage. We have the fry, the fingerlings, the juveniles, yeah, and they grow out. That means if it's a fry and juvenile, give them high feed of high protein content, crude protein, at least between 47, at least 35 to 47, yeah. So when you're going to the market, when the fish is small, and also look at the pellet size. If it is young, 0.5 to around 1 millimeter. Because you look at the girth of, I look at the mouth, yeah? The girth of the mouth. How wide is the mouth? Can it swallow that pellet? And also, you will keep on changing the feed according to how the fish is growing. Reason that you've been giving powder, you can't give powder for the whole month. Remember, you want all the energy to be put into somatic energy, the growth, rather than some of the energy be lost as the fish is feeding. Because also feeding takes energy. Can I give an example? If I have my fish of 200 grams and I'm giving it powder, okay, powder is nutritious, it is 4.7, it's it's 47, it's 45 good protein. I'm giving it the powder. If you know how much time and energy it will use to get that little, because the powder, it has to just cope like with the water. Like how much feed is it going to take per time versus the energy it's going to put in? Versus when I'm going to give it a pellet of 4 millimeter or 3 millimeter, it's going to use less energy to pick that 3 pellet. It may pick like 2 or 3. But you look at the type of, the amount of food and energy it has gotten taking that feed versus the amount of energy it has put in to get that feed. You know that it has used a lot and gotten little when it's feeding on the powder. So that means when it comes to the feed, we have the sources, various sources of feed. We have this commercial feed. It's already balanced. Yeah, the oils are there, the carbohydrates are there in right amounts, the protein is there, even given according to the developmental stage of the fish. Yeah, the pellet size are the like. So most cases, even if it is a lower farm who cannot afford feed, I encourage them, let them try their best and buy commercial feed for the younger fish. When you look at tilapia, okay, fish may be the feed may be at around 6,500 Ugandan shillings per kilogram. But then the young for the young fish, because the crude protein makes the price of the feed. So basically on market you can see 0.5 millimeters at 47 crude protein. A 10 kilogram bag is around 66,000. So you have 0.8 millimeter, still 47, 10 kilogram, 65,000. 1 millimeter, 47% crude protein, 10 kilogram, 64,000. 1 millimeter of 42. So now they have reduced the crude protein. Still a 10 kilogram bag is 58,000. So that means it is 5,800 per kilogram. So when you go to 2 millimeter, it's reduced further lower. That is 37. And it's a 20 kilogram. For it is 20 kilogram bag. For it is 99,000. Then we have 3 millimeter pellet size. It's 32% crude protein. It's a 20 kilogram bag. It is 94,000. Then 4 millimeter. It is 32 crude protein. 20 kilograms is 93. 6 millimeter. 30% crude protein. 20 kilogram bag. It is 92,000 shillings. So you realize that the higher the crude protein, the more expensive the feed per kilogram. So basically, I always encourage, even if it's now tilapia, because now right now I'm talking about, I may focus on these lower scale farmers. When it comes to Nile tilapia, I encourage those farmers to come up with, to buy that feed. You can get a bag of 65,000. So it's according to the sorry. Alhamdulillah. Actually, it's according to how much fish you have stocked. So if I've stocked 1,000 fish, tilapia, we have a feeding rate of each stage of each species. Let me give an example. If it's not tilapia, I can say might be feeding 10% of the average body weight. So if at all I brought my fish and it's around 2 grams, yeah. So I would say 10% of 2 grams. If I've stocked 1,000 fish times 1,000, so this is around 200 grams. So this is 200 grams that I'm going to, now that means I've bought, like, as if I've bought like 0.8 millimeter bag, yeah, of 47 crude protein, because this one of a 2 gram fry can take this 0.8 47 crude protein, and I've bought it at around 65,000. Let me see how much feed, yeah, I'm going to feed. So remember, I've calculated 10% of the 2 gram of each times 1,000, the fish that I've stocked. So it's around 200 grams. Now remember, the feeding time intervals per day are different for each developmental stage. So when fish is in fry and fingerlings, I would recommend 5 to 4 times a day. Various farmers, I give them that, and those who don't feed, I give them the same feed. And those who don't take the feeding times, they don't get good results in the first month. So as I say, it's a patient business. So 200 grams, if I've recommended to feed, let me say, 5 times. So that means I'll divide 200 grams by 5. That's, 40 grams. That means I'm going to take 40 grams to the pond, because right now it's like to the pond 5 times a day. So I will space. And most cases, when you are feeding, try time interval starting from the time where the sun is out, because it increases the metabolic rate of the fish, and that will increase the demand of the fish, of the fish feed. So you can say I set it at maybe 9 a.m., then 11 a.m., then I'll do 13 hours, okay, 1 p.m., then 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are 5. Yes, 9 a.m., 2 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. So you can also extend and say, okay, maybe 9 a.m. might be early. Let me do 10 a.m., noon, 2 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m. But remember, 6 p.m., the sun would have been going on. So now you can say, okay, let me do from 9 a.m. Yeah? So you spread 5 times. Then you take these 40 grams. Now, in most cases, it's not easy to calculate the amount of feed, yeah, of the whole product, the whole cycle, unless you're going to break down stage by stage. Because now I've calculated just for 1 week. So that means these 40 grams per cycle, per time I'm going to feed, feeding time, it is just a standard to guide me. That means if I take these 40 grams and I feed the fish, we feed by response, and realize that the fish is wanting more, what do? I give them more feed. I can say, let me add 20 grams. Yeah? That means in my record, instead of putting 40 grams of feed, I'll put 60 grams. So that means that very week, you go on feeding and seeing the response. Don't say that the fisheries officer told me 40 grams. No. Because I don't know the dynamics at your farm. I'm giving you a guide. So that means you're going to get these 40 grams. You feed, if it says 60, you're going to continue feeding. You get the point? So that means you may start the week feeding 40 grams per cycle, per time. Then you start Monday, then reach on Saturday, and you're giving them like 70 grams per cycle. That means 70 grams times 5, that's around 350 grams. That means you're already at 350 grams. So this is a practical thing per farm. I shouldn't copy this and take it to another farm. So this is what we do in practice. So that means you're going to increase, you have a standard, but you're going to increasing. So when it gets to fingerling stage, like the second month, it's on fingerling stage, you will be reducing the number of times from 5 to 4 times I'm going to feed. Then you increase the amount of feed. You may realize by that time you are feeding 100 grams per cycle times 4. That means you'll be feeding around 400 grams per what? Per cycle. Now that means you may be feeding 400 grams per day. Yeah? They divided them into 4 times, that's 100 grams. So by the time you go to the 3rd week, you realize that you're even feeding 200 grams. Now, this means that feed is going, you're increasing the feeding, the ration you are feeding per time that is coming, per developmental stage, and you're reducing the feeding time. You get the point? So if you follow this advice I'm giving you, you realize that you are having the effectiveness of your feed. So you realize that at the 2nd month, in the 3rd month, might be in feeding 1 kilogram per day. This takes you back. After putting all this on paper, you will realize that, oh, that means I'm feeding 6,500 shillings per day for 1,000 fish. The beauty about calculating this and feeding by response, feeding with these calculations, you will see impact. The feed that you are giving, and there will be impact. And you'll know how much you are spending. But calculating the whole cycle is really challenging. Reason that we have different dynamics on a different fish farm. You can only calculate the amount of feed you are feeding after you have had some bit of records for at least 3 to 5 cycles. There you can determine that I'm using this amount of feed at this much for this farm. Reason that you have had different records, you have validated them the second time, then you find the average. So now the feed is expensive. When it comes to African catfish, okay, let me say tilapia, you might feed the feed you get from the shops, the commercial feed, the kilo can be 6,500 shillings per kilo. It can be 5,000 per kilo. It's a bit expensive for the smaller and the medium scale farmers. But I advise them to rely on this commercial feed because it has all required nutrients in the right amounts. So I encourage them to feed using this commercial feed at least for 2 months. At least for 2 months. Now, from that, if I told this commercial farmer cannot go on, for tilapia, what I would advise, he can do some farm-made feed. But then the challenge we have is the choice of the plant sources and the animal sources. Reason that we don't have control over the quality and the supply. I might give you a simple formulation, like let me say have 35% mukene, then 40% maize bran, then 25% soya, then you put some bit of salt, then you put some bit of oil, yeah? But remember, our supplies are low, are fluctuating. You might find that that day he didn't get mukene. That means he will cut down mukene and increase soya. Reason why I encourage mukene and soya, reason that, and both of these are expensive, but they're good protein sources. That means also formulating the feed is another training. So he may try out. Now, most farmers are doing it wrong. Why? They just go to the feed mill, they give them, actually, I advise farmers, you buy your own mukene and you're going to say, reason that these people give you grade C. Okay, grade C in Uganda, we are using it for animal feed, but the nutrients are already leached. But you can say, okay, let me try out grade B of mukene, the quality of grade B. It's better someone buys his own mukene and they mix the mukene when he's there. Reason that I got someone from the north, I don't know if it's a row or something like that, was complaining the feed he would just send to Chisenyi a bus, let me not say Chisenyi, okay, like to Kampala. They mix the feed and they put it on the bus, take it like to Arua. When I asked him the ingredients, I told him maybe they are cheating you on this, this and that, so that you don't have the devices, the machines to measure the nutrient content that you have been given. So these farmers, you have to prepare them, even if they are going to ferment their feed, let them choose the right, good quality, non-adulterated feed with no aflatoxins, or like good feed. And then how are you going to give this feed to the fish? Most farmers over Uganda, after mixing, it's in powder form, they just get the feed, put it on water. Remember, you have put nutrients together and then they will go apart on water. That means some nutrients will leach, some nutrients will not be taken. But this is how I advise those farmers. Get your feed, you have mixed it very well. We have a pelletizer. If you have done this bagia bit of it, you have some bit of pelletizer. It's like around 350,000 Ugandan shillings. You get that feed, put all the ingredients, the soya, the mukene, you have pounded the mukene, you have your maize bran, rice bran, sunflower, if you have, you put the salt, you put the oil, yeah? Then, the way you make bagia, you make that ball. Then you use pressure to push it through the die. Okay, they're like the dies, yeah? We call it a pelletizer because it's not like the other big machine, the dies. Now, they will come out like how you see bagia. Then you chop them into the small pieces. That machine has different dies whereby you can get the pellet size for different fish. After that, chopping them, we have a local sun dryer. Get those pellets, put them under sun dryer. It will give the heat so that at least they make that solid and nutrients won't be lost, other than put them on direct sunshine. So after that, store them very well, and you can apply that pellet to the fish. Like if I told the fish is like juvenile grow out, juvenile and grow out. That pellet may not be having a very good floating time. It may sink maybe after 3 or 5 minutes. but at least fish would have taken some pellets. So even when you're feeding using that feed, that means you'll have to first monitor what's the floating time. Then that will let you know how much you will put on top so that it can be taken. So that is for tilapia. When it comes for catfish, when catfish goes to 200 grams, most cases now we have an alternative feed of using chicken ovals, cattle ovals, or piggery ovals. So what you do, when it's around 200 grams, your catfish, you identify a supplier who can give you those catfish, sorry, those ovals of piggery or piggery or cattle or chicken. You look at the gut of your catfish, you come and chop those ovals to the pieces that can be taken by the catfish. Now, if you get in bulk, please don't roast those ovals. Reason that they'll create that oil, and when you put those ovals roasted or boiled or I don't know, fried ovals, they'll make that oil on top, and this will reduce oxygen in the pond, and the fish will die. So if you want to do that to preserve the ovals, just sun dry them. Just that, because the sun drying won't make the oil, bring the oil, but roasting will bring the oil. So that means if it's possible and you can get a continuous supply of fresh offals, it's better. The feeding time, you just put your ovals. The good thing, they float, put them, and the catfish can even go, since it's a bottom feeder, it can also go down and pick them, but they float. And then most cases, you can feed at an interval of 2 days, because you can give an amount that can feed for 2 days, because the catfish can take 2 days. You can feed like on Wednesday, you can feed like on Monday, skip Tuesday, feed on Wednesday, just like that. So you should have the offals that are fresh. Don't bring rotten ovals, because they will spoil the water quality and they bring in diseases to the fish. That is for catfish. And you go on increasing the amount. Now for a kilogram of ovals, like chicken ovals, can take you between 500 shillings and 1,000 per kilogram. Remember, you have to put transport costs. It's according how far you are to these processing factories, which do chicken, which do cattle and the like, or pork. Yeah. Now, the challenge of that is that it's also season. Reason that these ovals are being competed by other animals and also humans. So when you get a good trusted supplier, you can have your ovals in place. So let me first leave feeding, because I wanted to use exactly 1 hour. So let's look at pond management. Pond management, we have the slashing, the pond construction and the like. Let's first look at the pond construction. First of all, when you're going for this pond construction, even if you're going for the site visit, don't give someone advice about the site when you are not on ground. Visit the site. Ask them the source of water. If the source of water is there, remember, most of these farmers farm in the village, but have not been there for so long. Ask the local people around, what is the history of this source of water? Is it seasonal? Is it not? Because most cases, I do commercial pond construction. I prefer doing commercial pond construction in dry season, so that I know, okay, this is the amount of water that is there. Now I can consider this site. Why? In the rainy season, we get kind of confusing. Why? The water is a lot, and then I may recommend like 7 ponds when actually it should be 2 ponds. You get the point? So basically, we have construction which we use manual labor, and the one where we use machines. Let me start with manual labor. Manual labor right now, we have those people who are already good at pond construction, the standards. But right now, you can get around 50 feet by 100 feet. That's around 15 meters by 30. And then the depth maybe 4 feet or 1.2 meters. Yeah. Someone can charge you between 1.5 million to 2 million. So you can use that as an example. 1.5 to 2 million. So most cases, those who are doing 1 to 2 ponds, I recommend them not to use commercial pond construction, because the cost will be a lot. But those who are doing 1 or 2, I recommend them to do manual labor, to get someone who will dig. But the disadvantage of these people who dig, you give them money. When they get tired, they will say, let me just take this deposit, let me go. So you need to get real good people whom you can monitor, and they will have to put those banks, the sides at 45 degrees. You have that slope towards the end. And in most cases, when you are constructing the ponds, we forget that we have to put the inlets. We don't budget for the outlets and inlets. Now, in most cases, I recommend a 4-inch high duty pipe for every pond. If at all these are very big ponds, I recommend a 6-inch heavy duty pipe. You buy the pipe of 4-inch can be around 65,000. Then the bend is around 35,000. So you cut that pipe to a certain depth where you want it, then insert it at the bend and the other one to the pipe that is going out as the outlet. Then at least you can have a small piece that can work as the inlet. So basically, when you're budgeting for pond construction, also recall that you have the pipe. Then recall you have to do some pond liming. That's why in the dry season, it's better that you have done your pond, you have removed the silt, the sun has hit to kill off some eggs, some pathogens and the like. Then you apply your lime to kill some pathogens and also to buffer the pH. And how do you apply the lime? You can put it in the solution in water, or you can just throw the powder. But it's safer when you put the solution and just pour, because it should be protected from that lime. May be corrosive. Then you should know how much lime you're going to use. You can say, because the rate, I'm not very certain of the rate, but this is the rate that I'm using. For every 200 meters squared, I'm using 25. Wait, let me calculate here. Because I've been using 75 kilograms of agricultural lime for a pond of 20 by 30 meters. That's what I've been using. You can calculate. So, but when it comes to commercial pond construction, I would recommend those who are having around like 4 ponds and above, because the cost will be less and the time for constructing them. When I'm doing commercial construction, as a fisheries officer, I don't have an excavator of 300 million. So I have a memorandum of understanding with a certain company. What are the charges? Now, me being in Nuero, transporting it to and from, they'll give you a grand total of 1.5 million. If in Wakiso, they can say at least 1 million or 800,000. So you have to calculate that 1.5. Let me say we are working from Wakiso. That is, let me say 1 million. Transporting it, the excavator. Then, you might have a site visit. Now, let me give you the price for the machinery operation and the like. I won't give you my price for technical, because if it is in Luelo, I will do it free of charge. If it's outside Luelo, my area of operation of government, that means it's a private arrangement over the weekend. That means I'll charge you independently. So for the charges, 1.5 million, sorry, 1 million bringing it on site. Then most cases, we have to clear the land. Now the rate, it is 1 million per day. This excavator is on site, and the fuel is by you. You're the one who pays the fuel. This is a diesel engine. Most cases, when the soil is not that wet, because this excavator will have to use a lot of fuel if the soil is so wet, so soggy. That means it might use 250 liters of diesel per day of work per 8. If the soil is not that soggy, you can use around 150 liters per 8 hours, 50 liters of diesel, hours of work. So that is the rate. 150 liters of diesel per 8 hours. If the soil is not that soggy, the soil is not that wet. Now if the soil, okay, the site is not that wet. If the site is so wet, muddy, the like, that means you might use 250 liters. So diesel right now is at, let me say 5,000. That means you calculate 5,000 times, if it's a dry, let me give an instance, if it's a place that is not that soggy, 5,000 times 150, let me use my laptop here to calculate. Um, 5,000 times 150 liters. That's around 750 shillings fuel per day. Yeah. Then you have already paid the 1 million of bringing it. Yeah. Now that is fuel. Now, if at all I want to do like 5 ponds, the rate of this machine, yeah, if I want to do 5 ponds of 20 meters by 30 meters, let's calculate the days it will use. On the first day, it will have to divert the channel, because some of your sites, the channel, the way it's flowing through the site, maybe just cutting through the whole land in the middle. We might say, okay, let's put it at the edge, and we have our ponds laid very well to fit that amount of land there. So sometimes we may be required to change the stream, the direction. But then we have to look at also the terrain. As we are changing the stream, we look at the terrain of the land. That means also when it comes to placing our ponds, we place them against the terrain, such that the inlets, the stream feeds the inlets from above, and then the ponds will be going lower with the terrain so that they can easily drain. So putting focus on the terrain. So 750 is the fuel. So that means on the first day, we might not use a lot of fuel, because just clearing the land, like we can use around 100. We can use around 100 liters. So this 100 liters might be around 500,000. Yeah. Then the rate at which this excavator is working, if you are going to have 50 by 30 meters, it can do 1 pond in 1 day and a half. Yeah, 1 pond, 1 day and a half. That means it will do, it's doing 1 pond, 1 day and a half. That means it will do 2 ponds in 3 days. Yeah. So that means the 3 days we have 2 ponds. Yeah. Another 3 days we have 2 ponds. Then the last day it will be 1.5. Yeah. 1.5 day. So that means we shall have our 5 ponds. I've said 5 ponds of 20 by 30. That means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. Then we can add on the first day of clearing the land as a half day to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, make them 8, but put an extra one to be like 9. So that means you already have to pay 9 million. Here is 9 million per what? Per day. The excavator is there. Then you calculate how much fuel, because it uses around 150 to dig. The work rate at 8 hours is 150. So that means we have our 750 for fuel times. Remember the 500 shillings was for the first day. So let me say times 8. 750 times 8. That's around 6 million. Yeah, 6 million. So that means for all 5 ponds, you have 6 million. We shall have how much you will invest. We have the 1 million for bringing it. We have 9 million for per day. It's on ground. Maybe you can negotiate to remove 1 million to make it 8 million. Reason that the first day you're just clearing and the last day you're just finishing. So let's put it to 8 days. So 1 plus 8, that's 9. 9 plus 6, that's 15. 15 plus 500,000. Yeah. So it's around 15.5 million. Yeah. So 15.5 million to dig, to commercially dig 5 ponds of 20 by 30. A pond of 20 by 30 is very big. 20 by 30 is very big. It's around 600 meters squared. If I'm using a stocking nest of, if it's catfish, I'm using 10. That's around 6,000 catfish there. Maybe I can put it even to 12 if my water quality is good. So we are looking at value for money. It is 15 by 15.5 million. 15.5 divided by 5. So it's around 3.1 million per pond. That's what you are using. 3.1 million per pond. Even if you save 4 million per pond of 20 by 30, imagine you want to dig 20 by 30 meters pond using mukono. That person, remember I told you this one of 15 by 30. They asked you 2 million. Here they ask you even 4 million mukono. And that 4 million mukono, they might take you around 2 months. And the challenge there, sometimes they leave. So if you're doing 4-5 ponds, go with. But if you calculate, if you have 2 ponds, 1 pond, using commercial excavators and the like, the price will be high per pond. So that's my advice, calculating. So I want to go to the last thing, which is about marketing, because 5 minutes to go. Marketing is something that is really great. Marketing, when you're having this farmer, first get to know the market. Some of you do fish farming when you haven't gotten what market you are going to farm. Because when you get to know the market I'm going to farm for, that means I'll know the period of time I'm going to farm, and also the harvest size. So if I'm doing local market of around my town, I'll have to first ask what is the buying price. If it's 3,000, why would I go farm fish up to 500 grams? 3,000, that is 250, 300 grams. If I told I'm farming for export, maybe Kenya and the like, they might take 400 grams. That means I'll make sure my fish is 350 grams and 650 or 600 grams. If I'm selling to maybe DRC Congo, they can take 200 grams, 250 if it is catfish or anything. It will, by 4 months I'll be done. 5 months I'll be done. But if it's catfish and they want 1.5, I might take even 10 months. So let's get to know what we are farming for. And we tend to rely on these exports. But it's better if you're a small farmer scale and medium scale farmer, you should farm for the local market. Use the towns around. Use these people of turning it around. They want a fish of 200 grams, 150 grams. Yeah, 300 grams. They want to buy it at 3,000 shillings, 4,000 shillings, 5,000 shillings. Have that. And then when you are selling, let them do like by looking, not by weighing. Because when you're selling for export, they will weigh. If your fish is 400 grams, they will say, I'm buying a kilo at 8,000. So that means you're going to have your 2 pieces of fish plus another one to make 1.2 kilograms times 8,000. But if it's me selling to the local market, I can get that 400 gram Nile tilapia. It is big. I can tell someone I'm giving you 8,000 and they buy it. That's why when it comes to local market, you can make sales, but it takes long because they are not going to get the whole fish. That means you're having local market, have your net there, your say net there. That means you're going to sell fish periodically. So thanks for listening to me. I hope you have gained a lot from this talk. Lutamaguzi Abdul, Fisheries Officer Luwelo. I can give my email. You can, when you look at my YouTube channel, it's in my name's Abdul Tamaguzi. When you look at the view channel, the details of the channel, there's my email. It is abdulluta325@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment, then we shall communicate later. We shall have other sessions as requested by any of your leaders. Thank you. Have a good day.